Guys, have just a very short video for you today. Have a mail sack right here. It's just one item. It's just one cheap toy, but it's pretty significant. In fact, on here it says it's worth 450 bucks. It's worth a little bit more than that. But yeah, let's take a look at this. I do have a very brief topic. What is my wettest dream? I don't know if anyone's ever asked you that, but I get asked that all the time. You know, what is your wettest dream? So I'll go over that. But yeah, let's dive right in. I got an item from Canada. Man, if you get a cheap toy from Canada, that's a good day. I'm noticing a pretty suspicious little tear here in the box. I know I've had things stop at the Canadian border at the customs. They do check these items a lot of times. This one, I don't see it broken right here. A lot of times what they'll do, they'll put like a piece of customs tape on it. If they do inspect it, this one looks like it's never been opened, so we should be good. Yeah, there's a guy on eBay right now selling his childhood Series 2 cheap toy collection. There was a toy last night that went for over $1,000. It was the Sunshine Fishy Phyllis. Went last night for over $1,000. I think the guys here at Marketplace, we might need to look back at the new price guide and make some revisions. Not right now, but maybe in about a year from now, we're going to have to do some revisions. These things are more valuable than any of us even predicted. Let's take a look. Now this happens to be a toy I've never had before, which is why I bought it. I didn't need it per se, but I'd never actually held, let me get you set up. I never actually held a green alligator before. So I can write that off my bucket list, I guess. Why I love green alligator is because if you think about the character alligator, well, he's an alligator, right? So he's green. So this is pretty much his most natural color to have a toy of alligator in. Holy shit. Absolute stunning mint condition. I wish, Novo Green is notorious for not looking good in photographs. It's really hard to capture this neon green color on whatever fucking phone I have I've noticed it the whole time. It's hard to make these greens look like they're supposed to. It's more of a, it's not even a neon. It's like a really high saturated light green. It's if you took a neon green and you took a step down from neon green. That's what these should look like. And I'm looking at through the phone with you what you're seeing, and I'm telling you they don't look like they're supposed to. Now the blues look like they're supposed to. This is what the blue looks like. And yellow looks right. Red looks a little dull too, but a lot of people have noticed that over the years. It's hard to capture what Novo Green looks like. But anyway, there he is. I had him previously, and well, I've had red ones. I've had blue ones and all. Where's the fucking Sorry. No, I already had red. Yeah, I buy and sell these a lot, so I don't know. Okay, so anyway, I had a red. Very cool. Just happy to have it. Happy to actually hold one. I had the blue-green mixed one before. It's called Gradated Green. Anyway, that's all I wanted to show you. I do have a short topic. What is my wettest dream? And so I'm going to go over that real quick. And let me make sure I'm prepared. Let me just put those up and get those out. We'll need those. We'll need our finger puppets. And we'll need some art. Okay. Actually, let me hold up on that. All right, so quickly. So hope everyone had a nice Thanksgiving holiday. I did have a question over the break. Someone asked me, a Garbage Pail Kid collector asked me, Russ, what is your wettest dream? And I told her, I said, I think my wettest collecting dream would be Series 3 cheap toys. And so I'm going to show you what I have that's related to Series 3 cheap toys. First, just to remind you, this is the first series of cheap toys. They came in this box. The box was designed by Mark Newgarden. It was actually painted by Tom Bunk. And it came out in 1987 officially. Series 2 cheap toys look like this. It was designed by Jimmy Chan, painted by John Pound, and it looked like this. Mine is missing the lid, unfortunately, but there's only 2 of these boxes known. You're looking at one of the 2 known boxes. And anyway, they made a new set of cheap toys. They look like this. They were a little bit bigger, and they came in different colors. But they stopped. They didn't make a Series 3 cheap toy box, and so I think my wettest dream, and like I told her, would be a Series 3. And so I set out a couple years ago, during the pandemic, to make a Fantasy Series 3 set, and so I'll show you what I did. That's not mine, that's Zapata's. Okay. Actually, let me skip to the goodies. All right, here we go. So this is something I drew personally. This is my fantasy wet dream, my most moist nocturnal emission, the Series 3 cheap toy box art. And so in my dream, well, it's not a dream now, I made it. I drew Hector Collector on a mound of bubble gum. All right, guys, listen to me. Listen very carefully. If Topps made this today, they couldn't put this in there. Topps does not make this candy anymore. They don't have a source. They don't have any sort of like partnership with Necco wafers anymore, like they did back in the day. Morgenstern, who worked at Topps back in '86, he had the connection to Necco wafers. Morgenstern is dead. And at Topps, they still have Bazooka Gum. Topps still has Push Pop. Topps still has Push Pop, baby, the little baby bottle pops. So if they ever made cheap toys like this, if they ever made Series 3 cheap toys, what the hell could they fit in here? Well, what they could fit in there is a piece of Bazooka Gum. All right, so realistically, if Topps ever made this, and I'll show you the painting in just a minute, they would put Bazooka Gum in it. That's all that's what they would put. Now, these characters on the box art, these were made by Al Lambright, who's known in the hobby as Uraeus. Now, Uraeus has made all these characters already. They're already been made. So you might have seen Stone Sean's cheap toy. You might have seen Ugly Hans, Clay Dreidel, Blow Joe, Dinosaur, Uraeus' beautiful bow and arrow. If you haven't seen these before, go on Instagram and find the collector who goes by Garbage Pail Kid. Something like that. Anyway, he has the pictures of them. Snaky Jake and Igloo. Oh, and thanks, Gavin. So all 10 of these characters have been made. They've actually already been produced. And we've actually also made them in the correct quantities and the correct colors. And so what you're looking at is the box art that would go on the box, the display box. And this is something that I was tasked with drawing. And so my wettest dream became reality, or I'm trying to make it reality. And so, yeah, that's that. Now, I did take this to color rough stage, so this would be a pencil rough. Guys, this is not the best painting in the world. I didn't have to make this perfect. I knew that going in. This did not have to be perfect because it's going to be done digitally. It's going to be like airbrushed digitally. Everything's done like that nowadays. But anyway, this is basically just the, the kind of the like the color rough as you said. Okay. But anyway, hopefully you can see it a little bit better. But anyway, you have Hector Collector. He's holding bags of cheap toys because if we ever do get this made, they will come in baggies like this. Hopefully you can see some of the details better. So basically it's a black closet, lit with a little light. Up here you're going to have the 2 series of cheap toys, that and that. Dinosaurs peeking out over a couple bags here. Now Hector Collector is on a mound of bubble gum. And so everything's got sort of the sticky bubble gum attached to it. Over here you have a dresser that has a pulled out drawer. In here it's kind of a flashback to some of the best cheap toys we have. Muscle Things, Nasty Nick, some mannequins, OG cheap toys. Then you have some shelving because, this is Hector Collector. He has a room full. He's like me and you, right? He has a room full of collectibles, and these are basically collectibles. So that's the pitch for Series 3. It's Hector Collector's bedroom. Okay. Also in his bedroom is an attic space and bow and arrows up there shooting an arrow down. I did this to draw your eye back to the middle. It sort of makes a star or an X composition. You don't see a lot of X compositions, and so I want to do something a little original. Yeah. And one more thing about this design, if you like this design, I wanted it to be a callback to the other artworks. And so if you look at Tom Bunk's rendition, it's like a pyramid. And if you ever see John Pound's box, sorry I don't have it, but it's a pyramid as well. And so I wanted to echo the pyramid. So that's that. To get to this stage, it took about 3 months of sketching and work. And I have a big stack about this big of just all my sketches, all my fuck ups, basically, all the little misfires and whatnot. But yeah, so the good news that what started as my absolute wettest, moistest, nastiest, nocturnal emission could actually become reality. And so that's something I'm looking forward to. I'll also give you just a little rundown of what we have. I told you guys the reason we have fan sets, this would be a fan set. The reason we have fan sets, we're having to make this stuff because Topps won't. And I don't know why that is. We do have mannequins. Topps did try to make something similar to cheap toys back in 2013, 2014. And it looked very promising for a minute. They ended up making 52 different toys, which is amazing. I thought they were really cool. They were a little expensive at retail, which turned a lot of people off, but the quality was really nice. The biggest critique was they were a little small. Where is my... Just occurred to me I could show you a little something here. So here's a regular cheap toy. Here's a mannequin, right? And you might also remember from last year. Was it last year? These fucking micro figures. Was it? Yeah. Look at this guy. This guy even got some yellow pants on. That's pretty cool. So it's pretty obvious at this point, Topps is not going to make a Series 3 cheap toys. They're not going to go back and they're not going to make anything that looks remotely similar to the cheap toys. They're not going to make a set of 10 characters, put it in a display box. I don't know why they couldn't do that, though, and put them maybe online and sell them to do an online release. Obviously, these will not sell well in the stores, but they could do an online release maybe. But anyway, it's not like Topps hasn't tried to do cheap toys again. They kind of already did. But I just can't call this Series 3 cheap toys. I tried for a long time to go, oh, this is our Series 3, and this is our Series 4. But it's just not true. I mean, to me, the finger puppets are more cheap toy than the mannequins were. I don't know. It's just me. So my dream is to have... Oh, I actually have some more things to show you. So my dream is for me, because I'm doing it, and a couple of other people, to actually get Series 3 cheap toys back out there as a fan set. So anyway, this is the finalized design for the wrapper. So I don't know if you've ever looked closely at the cheap toy bag, but this is tape. This is torn tape. And that's something Newgarden came up with. And I don't have the Series 2 bag out, but the Series 2 bag has baseball stitching on it. And so I went through some different ideas. So I was thinking about, if they did a Series 3, what would they do? They could maybe do bazooka gum splats. They could do bricks. They could do little Tom Bunk flies. They could do bullet holes. That would be cool. Or cracks. That's just something I came up with. And I decided to go with just bricks. I love bricks. So I thought that would be really cool. And so I finalized that. And so if this ever does get made, I'm hoping in 2023 we can get this out there. It'll look like bricks. Okay. So yeah, I wanted to share that. Some of you guys have already seen that. I've shown this on Block Stars Live, I know, a couple of times. But yeah, that's definitely, like I told her, this is definitely my wettest dream, is to have Series 3 cheap toys. A box where you open it and there's, fucking bags there with toys and bazooka gum. I just think that would be super cool. I think it'd be the ultimate fan set. I mean, I've also been asked many times, what is the ultimate fan set? I think for years the ultimate fan set was, OS 16, of course. I mean, Topps should have already made OS 16. I'll put you down. They should have already made OS 16. There was no reason they couldn't go back and make them. I mean, All New Series 1 was sort of like them trying to put out OS 16, but it wasn't OS 16. It just wasn't. It was close, but no cigar kind of thing. So it took a fan set, people, right, to make OS 16. So I think that was the ultimate fan set. Another ultimate fan set was definitely the Bikini Kun Series 2. I mean, who wouldn't want Japan to make another, set of Bikini Kun? But I think another fantasy, like a true great fan set, would be the return of cheap toys. And I think that is easily, if I'm being honest, like truly honest to myself, I think Series 3 cheap toys is by far just my biggest, most wet dream. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that. Just wanted to share some art of mine. seems like everyone does their own art these days in the groups, and so I do my own art. You know, me too. I do it too. So, and I hope you enjoyed the very cool, very expensive. This went for actually $600. So, but happy to have him in. All right. Yeah, I have some more things to open. I was going to group it all into one mailbag today, but I wanted to do this topic, this series 3 topic, and just show you, because I've been waiting for like a week to open this fucking box here. So I think tomorrow I'll just come back and do the other mailbags, but mail sacks. I'm calling them now. I'm calling these mail sacks. You guys have a good rest of your day. Go buy you some cheap toys. My God, they're just going up and up in value. Russ Van out. I gotta go back to sleep.